Hey everybody, this is Tim Seeley, and you are on Splash Pages.
Is the one obvious thing.
What's wrong with him?
His girl just broke it off.
It's her father. He doesn't want her dating a zombie.
Why? What are they, demons?
She is predeceased.
An outsider?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're asking for trouble.
She broke my heart.
You're a zombie. Technically, you don't even have a heart.
After all of the great cinema that we brought to the world, and we still get no respect.
I don't know why he doesn't like me. I'm responsible. A full-time job.
You work at a haunted house in October.
I'm trying to be healthy. She's a vegan, so...
Wait, you're giving up meat?
Oh, come on.
What are you gonna do? Attack a farmer's market to try to impress her?
Now, if he was a vampire, you'd have a much better chance with her death.
Yeah, those pretty bastards.
I didn't think this would be that hard.
Hard? Man, I'm a zombie and I'm black.
Here we go.
I blame the educational system.
I blame the media.
I blame George Romero.
Oh. How could you be so disrespectful?
Coffee?
Zombies don't know much, but they do know good coffee. Deadly Grounds. It's coffee to die for. And zombie approved.
Who's George Romero?
Just have some coffee.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an amazing show scheduled for you as usual. And hear us. Drew, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. I'm Drew. I was the runner-up on the 2017 Tim Seeley Lookalike Contest. I was disqualified because I went with ginger ale instead of the Coke Zero of the winner. Lucky bastard. I'm glad to be here. Really psyched to have our fantastic guest who I've met and who has graciously signed my book. But I'm not introducing him. We're going to have someone else do it. And we're on to John.
Hey, that's me. I'm the guy introducing. So without further ado, writer, artist, co-creator of some of the most influential genre of comics of the last 2 decades, from the long-running horror series Hack Slash to the critically acclaimed revival and standout of work on Masters of the Universe, Nightwing, Grayson, and G.I Joe. Many, many, many others as well. Local Man, and so many others that we've read. Tim has built a career blending sharp character work with bold, fearless storytelling. We're talking horror, superheroes, creator-owned comics, and what keeps him pushing the medium forward. Please welcome Tim Seeley. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Woo!
Well, thanks for coming, man. Like this is an honor, especially for myself. You've written tons of my Masters of the Universe comics, and now to find out that it's going to be an ongoing series after the Sword of Flaws, I'm wicked stoked. I don't know if you can see it way far in the back, but I got Masters of the Universe figures just hanging there on the wall and stuff. I got to know how'd you get into the world of comics and all that stuff? How'd you get to be where we love?
Well, I mean, it goes right through Master of the Universe, actually. So when I was a kid, I grew up kind of in the country, and it was like a big event to go to town and go to the store. And at some point, I got a He-Man figure, and it came with a little comic book. They used to come with the books, and I read it so many times it fell apart. And so my parents, I had it read to me. I was only 5 years old. And so I read it with my mom, and my parents just make everybody read it to me. And then, awesome. that interest was sort of encouraged by my parents. And so every time we would go, camping or anything like that, they always buy me comics from the camp store. So my first non-mini comic was a Spider-Man book. It's actually on my wall. It is Spider-Man 230, Amazing Spider-Man 230. And so from that, I was 6 years old, I think. And then from that point on, I was just completely hooked with comics. And I think when I was 10 years old, I did a report for my fourth grade book report thing about how I wanted to be a comic book artist. And I wrote to Marvel, got a letter back explaining how royalties work. So they weren't fucking around. They were like, here, kid, here's how Todd McFarlane makes his money on Amazing Spider-Man. So
no kidding. That's pretty fucking cool. That Marvel took a kid seriously and were just like, hey, this is what we need from you.
Well, then later, the guy who wrote me back was a guy named Mark Powers. At the time, he was an assistant editor. And then when I was 23, we hired an editor at Devil's Due Publishing while I was working there, and we hired Mark Powers. So I brought him the letter that he had written me 13, 14 years before. So, yeah, comics is a small world, and everybody ends up working with each other sooner or later, pretty much.
So, you did some incredible work with I'm sorry, guys. Where do we want to start?
Jar. This is your moment. we will, when you run out of oxygen and need to breathe, we will then pick that up. This is your moment, Jar Jar. Go. Be inquisitive.
How did you first get onto the books of He-Man and stuff? Was that like, I need this done for me?
No, I mean, so I was a huge Masters fan as a kid. So my brothers, we were that was like our thing. Like we were, huge collectors of that stuff. Even when my brothers moved on to G.I JOE or Transformers, I was still a He-Man kid. But when I started working in comics, right after Devil's Due got the rights to G.I JOE, we pitched Mattel to do Masters of the Universe. And I did the art for it and everything. This is 2001. And we found out we didn't get it because MV Creations had gotten it. And I would later become friends with Val, but at the time I was like, eat shit, Val Staples. And I was really mad about it. And Robert Kirkman, who ended up writing the books. And so I didn't end up working on Masters of the Universe for quite a few years after that. And kind of in a weird, I was like, you know what? I need a hobby that's not comics. That's not, my job. So I was really pretty comfortable with not working on Masters of the Universe. And I was just buying the stuff. I was collecting it. I was, when DC got the rights to Masters of the Universe, and I bought that whole series and read it. When, T-Man, Thundercats, I was just reading stuff for fun. And then I got but people knew I was the He-Man guy. I would go to PowerCon, which was the Masters of the Universe convention.
Oh, no kidding.
Just to go. I would just go hang out. Me and my brother would get flights and go hang out there. So everybody knew I was the He-Man guy as far as comics goes. And then when Dark Horse got the rights to do the book, they did the art books. And they had come to us they said, we're doing an Art of He-Man book. Would you happen to know anything about that? I was like, if you don't let me write this, I will track you down. So I ended up writing that with my brother, and that came out in 2015, I think, or so, somewhere around there. And it like scratched an itch I didn't know I had, and so pretty much from there, that led to Injustice Masters Universe, and then Masterverse, Masters Multiverse, and I have a pretty good working relationship with Rob David at Mattel, who is the greatest dude on earth, because he's always like, he believes very firmly that if you're a fan and you know this stuff, you're probably the best person for the job. So he keeps recommending me for the books. So I worked on them at DC, and then when they went over to Dark Horse, I worked with Brett Israel on the books there, and we're doing that ongoing series, which is my first time doing like just a regular Master of the Universe series. I've always done like versus Superman and versus Ninja Turtles and alternate universe, and this is my first time doing like a Masters of the Universe series, which is what I am finding I always wanted my whole life.
Do you already have a master plan?
Pun intended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely have I have a master's plan. I mean, it was something, when I started working on Injustice, Masters of the Universe, the characters that we were using, the sort of template was the same version of Masters of the Universe that was in the Thundercats crossover, and I just really liked what they had used. It was sort of a distilled version of the characters, and so
Right.
I kind of started building up what I was thinking should be the story then, even, back in 2015, 2016. And my big push on it was I always want to do something where, like a big sort of thematic run through, which was about power, because Injustice crossover was sort of about that too. And obviously Master Universe is, in addition to being about cool figures that look muscly and squat, like, the idea when you're a kid is like, you're like, I have the power, not you, Mom, I'm not cleaning my room. That was kind of like, right. And so, and then sort of like expanding that into not only adulthood, but 2025, and like, what does that mean? And kind of, what makes the person with power a hero and what makes them a villain.
Okay.
So that was kind of the idea.
Okay, Tim, I have a question. Because I just was wondering this, because you sound like you and Jar could literally have a private discussion for like 3 hours talking about He-Man and not get bored. So
True.
since you're such a fan, I have to ask, when you're doing the plotting or when you're reading, do you do the voices too? Are you, getting into that? Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just, exactly. Yeah.
Skeletor is the only one that's like, as much as I love the Filmation cartoon, like for me, the versions that are sort of etched in my head are probably really the mini comics versions, really.
Okay.
But that said,
Right.
the Alan Oppenheimer Skeletor will forever be, the you boob, like that, that snotty Skeletor. Yeah, and that'll always be the real, the real version of him to me. So that's the one, character where I hear his voice. Like, he has to be kind of an arrogant jerk. Like, he's evil, but he's not like Hordak evil or King Hiss evil. He's kind of an arrogant boob. He's just he is what he accuses everyone else of being.
Yeah, no matter what, his ego will always be his downfall. So, yeah, absolutely. No, because I was just imagining, because whenever we talk to creators and they're talking about this extensive plan, I'm always just imagining like the murder room, just strings everywhere. Yeah. Just it's a no, don't come in. I have this all laid out.
I have a whiteboard back there, but I just cleaned it off. It had a bunch of stuff.
It's okay. Literally, when we interviewed, I think it was Joe Kelly, right, last week, he was no, I got to play it safe. There's nothing there, but I don't want anybody, Easter egging, being like, oh, yeah, we're going to clickbait that. And I was like, fair. I mean, we'll keep the secret. We can't speak for the rest of the internet.
What did you say? Road to Spider-Man 1000?
Yeah, it was, the road to Spidey 1000. And he was like, it's coming. I'm like, oh, I'm ready. Let's go. So, Jar, do you have more? I want to be fair to you, Sarah.
Well, I was going to bring up Carrie just a second ago and her having to read the entire Injustice series because of He-Man versus Injustice.
No.
Nice.
You understand? It was her choice because she was like, I know nothing of these characters, so she just blows through the 72 issues in a week just so she could properly appreciate, you meshing them with that. And I even explained to her, like, yeah, and they also reference, some of the alternate endings of the game and stuff, because this is what we do here. We have to make sure we all understand, other than the majesty is done. So literally, like, oh, that's because of this, or like, I was like, nope, nothing will be missed. All will be appreciated. So,
And
Carrie,
she
very much.
172 issues, she said.
Yeah, it didn't matter. She crushed it the way someone pulls an all-nighter. She was like, I got this. Hold my wine. But yeah, again, you just handle the crossovers so well, which is I just have such respect for Tim, right? You and other writers who do crossovers, because that's a lot. Not only is it you're trying to find some consistency, whether it's its own spin-off or you're tying into something, but then you're juggling different voices and everything. Like, just such respect to you guys in doing that, because I can barely keep track of my family and friends. So I had to juggle, and then on top of it, making each personality not sound like it's the same fucking sarcastic asshole. That just,
you go from book to book creating new characters.
Yeah, like how, again, is that where the string and the whiteboard come in, just in terms of the balance, or is that just I'm gonna wing this, and if you don't like it, suck eggs, man. Like, I'm doing that.
Yeah, I'm a plotter only so far. I'm not. One time I sat next to John Hickman very early in my career, and he was plotting out Fantastic Four, which he was going to later do. But he had books full of like all these connecting things and all that sort of stuff. And I don't do that. But I do like write before I start something. I kind of write, kind of a loose plot structure, and then the thing that I always write is sort of, each character and what they want. Like, that's kind of what I do. And then after that, it's kind of improv, honestly. Like, I'm not I tend to treat comics more like improv comedy than sketch comedy, wherein, like, part of my job is to react to not only the art coming in, but also to the reaction by the fans. And so, I'm a bit of a winger. I'm more of a winger than probably most of my friends anyway. But certainly, like, with comics, it's a place you can do that. And for me, that's kind of the fun. Although by the time usually like the fifth or sixth issue of Arc rolls around, then I'm like cursing myself for having to go back and see what clues I left myself, like that's But like, for something that is, a crossover or something that's stuff I don't own, Turtles or Masters of the Universe or Injustice, before I start, I read everything I could possibly read. In the case of Turtles or Injustice or Masters of the Universe, I'm lucky because I know that stuff already. Like Turtles, I didn't have to do that much research. He-Man, I don't have to do really any. But like when I pick up something else that I may not be quite as familiar with, I'll read. I'll take 3 days and just read everything, like 172 issues of Injustice or whatever. And then I kind of, my theory on that stuff is my brain must be coated with it, just like dipped in the characters and the IP, and then I just let myself run. With varied success, but I think like one of my powers is that I'm sort of I'm a winger. That's probably my greatest superpower in this job.
All right. Hey, listen, it's all good.
With Masters of the Universe being such a popular franchise, are there constraints put on you, like what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do? Like, can you create new characters if you wish?
Yeah. I mean, Masters of the Universe, I'll be honest, that one's a little bit unusual in that I think I know the constraints so well that I've never received them from Mattel, ever. I've been in this for probably 10 years, and I've never gotten a note from Mattel that says, He-Man would never do that or Skeletor would never do that. I've never gotten that note. On the other hand, like other stuff, I will certainly get that note, like, just little stuff. Ninja Turtles, Godzilla, I think I got a few notes early, just sort of like, hey, brand stuff here. Godzilla can never do this. Like for once, Godzilla can never eat anybody. That's a rule. Godzilla can't eat human beings. So you'll get notes like that, like, hey, this is a brand thing, but or like Godzilla's non-gendered, even though Godzilla is a king. Godzilla doesn't have a gender, and all these sort of like little rules that you'll get they're brand rules, but like, but yeah, I mean, I think
Godzuki.
Yeah. You can use Godzuki. Godzuki's allowed. But I have chosen not to use Godzuki or Manila or any of the other ones. But I do think, like, part of the having done this for so long, 25 years basically, I never come into it going, I'm gonna wreck your shit. Like, I'm never like I'm gonna break your toys. Like I'm not. That's not me. I'm not interested in that. I'll break my toys. Like. I don't need to break anybody else's.
A little on that same vein, with the Masters of the Universe movie coming up, has there been any guidance on storyline as of set up anything for to not really tie in, but to coincide with the movie?
Nope. I mean, I kind of knew. I assumed. The characters that would be important in the movie would be. Well, I read a treatment for it back in the day, so I knew what was basically the plot. But I knew the main characters would be He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Teela, Skeletor, Evil Lyn. Like I having just done this, I know which ones are the important characters. I know which ones have the most fan interest. So but yeah, like the Mattel thing is always weird because I just don't. I mean, knock on wood, but I just don't. My relationship with them is they're sort of like, yep. Turn in a cool story. See you later. So, and I love their brand. I love their world. I love their characters so much that they know I'm not going to be like, here's where I made, a very unforgivable moment for, Man-at-Arms or something. Like I would never do that.
All right, we should get off He-Man.
I was going to say, John, are you good?
I had one more He-Man question.
Okay, go
ahead. You mentioned toys earlier. Was there something that you did not receive when you were a kid that you haven't been able to collect as an adult, or you made it a point that you needed to pick up when you as an adult?
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't have all the figures. Me and my brothers would collect the Master Universe stuff, but also like G.I. Joe and Transformers. And then we also traded comics. Like I would get all the Image stuff. My brother Brad would get all the Milestone stuff. My brother Steve would get all the Ultraverse stuff or whatever. And then we would trade them. But as a kid, like I didn't have all the Master Universe figures. But in my early 20s, when I got out of college and I had a couple bucks finally, I started recollecting the Master Universe stuff. So it started at 25, and I now have everything basically. I think the only thing I don't have is like the weird Italian versions of the laser light characters. I don't have those. I would love them, but I don't have them. And just a couple other things. But I basically have everything that exists in Master Universe. Yeah. So,
is it all in box or?
Oh no, it's all loose on in a shelf in my my family room, much to the chagrin of my wife.
I've only got I've only got my Castle Grayskull and my Snake Mountain and a few loose figures like He-Man, Skeletor, and Trapjaw. Then I have a few in box that I'm just like, maybe one day we'll sell those off. I don't know.
Well, so if you try to collect them now, and if you want to get the vintage stuff now, it's tough. When I started in like 2000, 2001. You could find He-Man guys for like $6. You could get like a full, with their gear and everything for like $12. And so I did a lot of shopping in those eras. And my brother and I would go to toy shows every weekend. We'd just go to we would drive all over the place. We're in Chicago, so we'd go over to Chicagoland, we'd go to India. Indianapolis. We'd go all over the place, Madison, buy toys. And so I have an awesome collection, but it is stuff that I probably would have trouble getting down for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gotten to meet Oppenheimer at any of these conventions?
Yeah,
nice.
he did my phone message for a long time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow.
If you called me, it would say, "Hey, it's a Skeletor," whatever.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, I won that one at Life. That was pretty cool. And he did my wife's as well. So when you call my wife, we'd be like, "This is Paula," and whatever. All our friends are like, "What is this old man doing answering your phone?"
Oh God, I did something like that with a friend or two, and I got in trouble because it was at an age where my mother would call me and and she was like, "What is this? If people call you, this is ridiculous." And I was just like, "It's not your phone."
Yeah.
So,
Blue Freedom, Mom, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It was at a time when I was still impressionable enough to care about such things. Now I'm like, I can't have a job or someone calling about that. It's gonna look a little weird. So
yeah, exactly.
The things that you're like when you're younger, glad we do. As an adult, no.
Yeah.
Or later. All right, Char, are you guys good? I
think we can move on to anything. Grayson, Hexslash, Revival.
Yeah. Well, I do want to touch on briefly, Tim, Batman, because that's how I got introduced to you. Because I feel like sometimes creators aren't on your radar, and then they do this one book, and then suddenly you see them everywhere. Like I know you were doing Grayson with Tom King, and that's like when he was breaking out into comics.
His first gig, really. Well,
so
first DC gig,
yeah, exactly. So you're doing that, and then that spun off until another big book. It was Batman and Robin Eternal, which was huge. I mean, you had some of like top-notch DC talent, not just in the writers' room, but the artists. So I mean, you're part of all that, and I'm just going through what's going through your mind, what?
I did both the Eternals. I did Batman Eternal, and then that led to Grayson, and then Nightwing, and then I did Batman and Robin Eternal. So over the course of 2 years, I did it was on and off 104 issues of Batman, which some crazy shit. But the process on that one, which I love, it was done like a writer's room, like a TV show, and I really wish we could do that again because I find that really fun, and I think I do some of my best work when I'm working that way. Not a lot of comic writers prefer that. I think I probably am unusual, but that's how we did that one, and that's how I met Tom. And I got to work with Scott and James, and James is still a good friend of mine, and Ray Fox and Kyle Higgins and John Lehman. So all people that we really went through it together. It was a hell of a gig, and because you're writing a script a week, we would alternate essentially. It was one a month basically. We were responsible for, but you were working with other people every week on those books. So I had a really good time with it. It was a fun, and that's another thing I don't have to do any research on. I don't have to research Batman. I know Batman really well. So
right, yeah. And then on top of it, because we've had in the past, we've had John Lehman on, we've had Ray Fox, so we've got their side of it, and it really felt like it was very much an enigma of the time, something like that. And we've got the pleasure of meeting Tom King at a few cons. We're still constantly seeing if we can get him on, especially now that Supergirl, which is based on his book, is going to be a thing. Which I was like, oh boy, he's going to be busy. It's again reading this stuff, and I mean, you work in Tommy's first gig. It's always did you know? Like, oh my God, I'm working with this person who's going to be a creative consultant at DC with James Gunn. You can't know.
When the situation with Tom was weird for me because I was working on Batman Eternal, and then they were looking to do a spin-off, basically reboot Nightwing, and they had a couple of different ideas for a way to do that. and it was different genres. It was like one was like a sort of like a Western pitch, and there was like a bunch of other ones, and they were just like not super into any of the sort of ideas that they had. And then I got a call like on a Friday, and it was like, hey, pitch us Nightwing, but like as a spy. So I came up with an idea, and I was sharing a studio with Chris Burnham at the time, which is where the Spiral thing came in, because he had designed the logo sitting on his desk. And I saw it, and I was like, let's use Spiral. That's great. And then I got back on Monday. I remember it was Valentine's Day that weekend. And I got back, and I get a call from DC, Katie Kubert. She's like, hey, we want to go with your pitch. And I was like, great. That's awesome. I can't believe I got this gig. And then by the end of the day, I got another call. It was like, hey, just so you know, we also hired another writer. And he was a spy. We feel like that would work really well. So, and then they're like, how do you feel about working together? You just did Batman Eternal. We know you can work with people. And I was like, God damn it. All right, fine. And they said, Tom's going to call you. And so DC got so fucking lucky because Tom called me, and then he and I talked for like 3 hours or something.
Right.
We got along instantly, but I was like, that could have gone so fucking poorly. Like, that could have been a total disaster. But, right away when I talked to him, I just like, he's such a genuine person, which, they told me like, hey, he's an ex-CIA guy. He's got this background in intelligence. And then when I talked to him, I was like, huh? It didn't make any sense to me. Like that, this guy was that. And so, but I think our strengths were always that, we would lean into each other's strengths. Like, Tom knew I knew how to plot stuff, and I was pretty good at improvising. And I knew Tom was really, as I worked with him, he was just so good at character stuff. And more than anything, Tom was good at pushing the medium. Like he would, but when we were first starting, he did that annual where he's like, hey, I'm going to write this backwards. And he said, do you think that's a good idea? And I was like, no, but you should do it anyway. And so like knowing that he's that kind of genius, and I could see it really early. I just knew like to get out of his way when he had one of those, we would kind of, I think our only disagreements were sometimes where his tendency is to go really dark, and I would be like, I don't know about that, But I think the stuff that we ended up making together was something we wouldn't have made either of us on our own. But Grayson is super unique. So, I look back on it, and I'm so affectionate towards it because it was so fun to make, and I think to this day it's it's something it's finally remembered. When we started that, and this is Tom and I did our first signing ever at New York Comic Con that year. And we sat down together. All these people would be like, "Man, I wanted to hate this, but then I read it." And that was like the response we got for that
really
book all the time.
Yeah, and it's so funny because like I know sometimes Tom's work is very heavily criticized. Like not everyone's gonna love work, but I feel like sometimes people are really go hard on him, and then you meet him, and he is I agree with you. Like he is the nicest person. He shakes your hand. He thanks you when you give compliments. He really listens to you. Like we adapted, like we did a live read of his book with Lee Weeks, the Batman Elmer Fudd.
Oh yeah.
And we did, we did stop. We pasted, these awesome effects, and we did the voices for the characters and whatnot, and we've been trying to like show it to him, and I was like, I tell him, he's like, oh my god, that's so cool, and I played him a clip, so he's like literally leaning down, listening to the opening monologue, and I sort of got, he is laughing so hard he's crying.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And he was just like, this is fantastic. Like we would have been able to interview him then and there, but Tom's line is always absurd, especially with his frequent partner in crime, Mitch Gerard's. But he's just the coolest guy. And like, again, when we get him on the show, I can probably say Jar and Leo, I'm sure we'll all be equally fanboying. We'd be like,
oh, totally. Yeah. His Batman run gets a bad rap, but I absolutely love it. And I know a lot of people overreact because of the wedding, issues, but like the date issue is just iconic, with Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
And then, and so it's like, again, with that, certain other things. So again, you got to work with him like in the beginning. Like you helped push that shooting star, a little extra momentum. And it was like, you're like, go,
I mean, yeah, he would have
go fly.
He would have done his shit no matter what, I think. But certainly like one of the probably like I had been in comics already 10 years by the time I met Tom, and so like I could tell him like, here's what I fucked up. Don't do this.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, I started in comics when I was 23, so 24. So like I screwed up everything you could possibly screw up.
Now
live and learn.
That you really enjoyed doing the collaborator thing with Eternal and stuff. Are you more happy to be working with a group of people, like when you're doing let's say Local Man with Tony Fleeks? Is that back and forth in the same room, or are you guys over the phone? How does that
well, he lives in LA, I live in Chicago, but we did for like Local Man, we would get together every 3 months and plot stuff, but most of it was just on the phone or via email. I've rarely worked on comics where I'm in the same town as my collaborator. Occasionally, but mostly, I mean, Mike Gordon and I are both Chicagoans, so when we did Revival, we collaborated, in person. But maybe that kind of shows in the book. But most of this stuff is done via phone or some version. Stefano Caselli and I have been friends. We did Tech Slash together. We've never, he's in Italy. He lives in fucking Rome. I live in Chicago. But we've collaborated together for 20 some years. So, but I mean, everyone is different. All the sort of collaborations I do, I don't try to treat them the same way because all those people are different and they work differently. And part of it, Tony and I both can draw and both can write. So that's a different collaboration than like with Tom, who's a writer, but who's also very, very technical, or like Stefano, who's an artist, or, and I just kind of try to, I've always tried to kind of gear it towards that relationship. So, if you want a heavy hand, I'll give it to you. If you want a light hand, I'll give it to you. I don't really care. It's always in a new experience for me. So,
Well, to kind of piggyback on some of that, because like I said, we read the first arcs of both Local Man and Revival, and we've had Tony Fleeks on, and he's fantastic. Him and his collaborator right now, Trish Forrester, are killing it on Feral. But Local Man was such a love letter. I read it as such a love letter to 90s comics. I mean, especially, and the one image, just rereading.
It's a love letter and also a critique, which which I think we're satirizing it, but we're also like full of enthusiasm for it, but also aware of its shortcomings. So which I think is part of, Tony and I can both do that. Like Hack Slash is a love letter to Slash stuff, but it's also making fun of it. So, I'm always, I believe you can have great affection for something, but understand what it is. And I think sometimes I think part of the problem can be when people are too beholden to their affections or their nostalgia, which is like, you can end up making something kind of limp if you're just like a little bit too in love with it,
Agreed. But for me, the one thing I definitely wanted to bring up was, I think it's at the end of issue 1. I'm a really big Spawn fan, so having him strung up with the note in the chains, I was like, yo, this is exactly what they did to Billy Kincaid in, I think it was like issue 4 of Spawn. Like, I saw that and I was like, yes. Like, I'm literally that Captain America meme, like, I understood that reference.
Right.
I know that one. So good.
Uber driver is my favorite, I think.
Oh,
That guy, he just fuck Jack Cross. Fuck. I'm just like the whole time, I'm like, oh, when's he going to show up again? Because this is great.
Yeah, it's like his Alfred was a guy who hated him. That was kind of the joke.
Absolutely.
But But, and also, like, Local Man, one of the best things about it, too, is, speaking of improv, like, we kind of just improv that book every issue. Like, we didn't have a real we had a plan, like, roughly we knew what it was about.
Right.
We knew kind of where we had to end up, but it was kind of just that book is a conversation, essentially. It's, I come up with something, then Tony comes up with something, and then he fixes something I did, and I fix something he did, and,
Right.
And then we just make something that, you know, is kind of a new idea. And it's probably my favorite book I've done, you know, overall. I think it's just so, I don't know, joyful, but also kind of dark. So I feel like it's like these things I like to do, which, you know, life is like that. It's like sometimes it's so funny and sometimes it's so fucking tragic and sometimes it's both. And that was kind of the approach to Local Man.
I think we need a TV show on it because that's the type of superheroes we need today.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, it's just like a shade, just a couple of shades, not as dark as The Boys.
And we always said it's the opposite of The Boys, because The Boys was about superheroes and how, you know, how people of power were going to inherently be bad people.
Right.
And our take was, you know, that Jack, when he was, you know, part of this team, and misunderstood what a superhero was, and he was becoming a better person outside of it. He wasn't becoming a worse person. It was like the opposite. We kind of always thought it would be the opposite. It's like you know, it's a redemption story rather than a trip down the shithole of. And we always kind of felt like it wasn't making fun of superheroes. It was making fun of a certain kind of superheroes. You know.
Right. Exactly. The over excess. Carrie says that she loved the relationship between Jack and the driver. She thought it was just 100% brilliant. So, yeah,
that was and that was you know, it was also one of those improv things. Like the first issue that somebody picks him up in a car and hates him, and then we were like, well, what's that guy up to? And he just kept coming back, you know, like in there. So I guess it's just one of those things I love about doing comics, is, and especially creator-owned comics, is like the yes and of the improv comedy. If you're an improv comic, you know what yes and is, which is you never shit on something, you just find a way to make it work. You never you just say yes and that's how superhero comics, I think, or just comics in general, can be really, that could be a really useful tool to making them.
Oh, absolutely. And then kind of moving on to Revival, which, I mean, again...
Second on Revival. I only read the first 3 issues because that night I had a nightmare and decided I wasn't reading anymore. I had a dream that I was pulling out my teeth and stuff. And
there you go.
Oh, no.
I told my wife about it. She's like, well, that means you're worried about losing something. I was like, no, actually, it means I was reading this comic.
Yeah, it was like, I feel like what happened? It was like pushing daisies. I was like, okay, we're going to read something. We're going to read Hack Slash. I was like, yeah, good call on that one. Just a little less carnage. Well, I think the thing for Revival was, like, the thing I really liked about Revival, and Leo, feel free to chime in if you want as well. For me, I always like when people, like, I feel like sometimes when you're seeing something like Revival, you hint at the thing, but you can't give away what, like, they talk about Revival Day. And I'm like, okay, but I can't know about it immediately because then it just ruins the story. The fun is unraveling the mystery. The real thing is, how does this event affect everybody? And it was crazy just seeing how this concept, it doesn't just change the people in this town, it changes the world. You've got politics, and underneath it, it's a human story. You have this family that's just trying to figure shit out as more things just continue to get, excuse my language, fucked. And then the little things were still great. Like, I'm sorry, this is the first comic I remember that I was like, Limp Bizkit? I was like, I'm done. I'm fucking done. Like, I was like, out of all the things you could have as his goddamn ringtone, it was Nookie. I was like, nope, done. Nope, stop. Like, I was like, no, I can't. I just can't. Like, so the question I have is that, how does that again come to mind? And 2, congratulations on it getting adapted as a show. So what was that like, you know, seeing that go from the page to the screen?
Yeah, I mean, it was. So I learned a lesson from Hack Slash, which was I'd sold the rights to Hack Slash to a studio, and then I spent the next 20 years basically dealing with corporate mergers and it was just sucked so fucking bad. And I learned, don't take the big check if you don't have any control. So with Revival, Mike and I made a pretty early decision that we would try as much as we could to do everything ourselves, be involved in every part of it. So the guy who eventually became the co-showrunner, was this dude, Luke Boyce, who'd come up to Mike and I at C2E2 and just said, hey, I'm a filmmaker. I live in Illinois. Let me know if you guys ever want to do something together. And Mike and I, and to this day, this is kind of it's a crazy thing we did, but we were like, I don't know, do you want to do Revival? and so Luke was like, yeah. And so he spent the next basically 8 years working every day to make that happen. On the upside for us was that we maintained the rights to it. I mean, we were involved in it the entire way. We didn't lose anything as far as, we didn't get money, but initially, but we did get control. And so, that ended up being to our advantage because we were part of the production, in any way we wanted to be, as far as, I'm not an actor or a director, so I couldn't do any of those things, obviously, but we were part of it the whole time. I saw the earliest scripts, and I saw the earliest designs, and we got to go on set and everything like that. So it was probably a different experience, I think, than a lot of people have with their adaptations. So when the show came out, it wasn't like I was seeing this for the first time. It was like I've seen all of this in various stages the entire way through. So it's still really surreal and weird, I guess. Like, it was just like I looked at my phone. It was like the year anniversary that I went up to the set like last weekend. So, but it exists. It's a show. It's out in the world. We're still waiting to hear if we get a second season or not. And, one of the things that I told Luke about it when we were working on this was, he was like, well, I had to change some stuff. And I was like, yeah, but the comic already exists. So don't worry about it. Like, if I did everything I wanted to do, it's here in the comic. Like, as long as you don't change, the sort of heart of it, we're fine with you making changes to it.
Which, and I think is really important, because I feel like that's a real matter of contention with comics, because there are certain things in comics that you can adapt. You just have to be a little creative about. And then there are certain things like this does not work in a real context as it would in a comic book.
Agreed.
And I think that's always the thing. Like, sometimes things can be adapted, and they actually do. Like, you adapt it, and then further down the line, you can get a little bit more creative. I mean, right, guys, we've seen where, like, the example, Marvel, eventually there are versions that are literally spot on like they are in the comic. It's just, you couldn't do Loki like he is in the comic with the green and the yellow horns. I was like, no. But for a television show, multiple versions, like, yes, we can. And it looked amazing.
Yeah.
So, I think it's about moderating expectations. Like, it's never going to be exactly like the comic. I was like, yes, because the pages move.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Yeah. And we felt pretty strongly, like, the first episode, and the first issue, we always kind of felt like you don't have to change much in that first issue. It's pretty much ready to shoot. But, there was later stuff where this comic was about a town, and it really focused on a whole bunch of characters, and the show had to be about people. And so it was really focused on the main characters in a different way than the comic was. But, all changes that Mike and I were totally happy with, so.
Okay. I think Carrie had a question, right, Leo?
Yeah.
What made you choose a Zorse to start out with?
Yeah,
that is
the Zorse
so
is the half zebra, half horse that gets murdered in the first part. And in the opening scene, it's the Zorse is running around in a field of snow and then chokes and dies. We chose Zorse because, and I swear this is true, that really happened. That in my hometown, one time I was home for Christmas. I think I was, maybe like 1999 or something. And a friend of mine swears that he remembers this too, was that someone poisoned a Zorse at a game farm. And I remember that moment because this book is set in my hometown. Wausau, Wisconsin is where I grew up. And so that was always part of, I just always want to use that scene. I thought it was so crazy. So we put it in the comic. And then very early on when people would ask me, I was like, that really happened. That's true. And then everybody would be like, I cannot find any reference to this in the news anywhere. So I don't know if my friend Chris and I made this shit up because he called me. We both saw the same news. I think it was on Thanksgiving Day. We both saw the news. We called each other. I was like, "Do you see someone fucking killed a Zorse?" And our joke at the time was, "Our town is so racist that they couldn't handle." But we both remember it, and I couldn't find any reference to it whatsoever. I don't know. I guess it's apocryphal at this point, but that is why we did it. And I just thought it would be a beautiful image, like this, this thing that doesn't seem to belong there at all. This like almost a literal unicorn, like running through a field of snow. And so there you go. And it was also something we couldn't film, which was kind of a bummer. Poor Luke tried to find a Zorse all over the place and couldn't get a Zorse. So, but it's a real thing. If someone someday finds this reference to this news story that happened in Wisconsin, central Wisconsin, let me know. I cannot find it. I looked all over. If you look up Zorse in central Wisconsin, Revival comes up. So, but if someone else finds it for me, please let me know.
They buried it. It's a Zorse conspiracy.
Yeah, right.
They zigged when they were supposed to zag.
Conspiracy or something. Yeah, whatever it was.
A consortiacy.
Mm-hmm.
Consortiacy.
I'm done. That's
Step out.
Well, just because I feel like Hackslash is going to be a slightly bigger conversation because there's so much. I just also need to say, yeah, I know, but I just kind of wanted to touch on West of Sundown just briefly because I'm a huge horror movie fan. So reading this was right up my alley. Hold on. Okay, Carrie, we'll get to that in a second. Don't worry. I loved reading this. Like I said, I'm a huge horror fan, and all the reviews of it always reference one of my favorite vampire movies, which is Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, when it is the cheesiest, dumbest fucking thing.
Yeah, Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, but I every time I'm watching it, I'm like, man, George Clooney, you are a fucking badass.
Yeah,
in this movie. Like that, just the whole thing. Like you and Aaron Campbell, who we're actually fortunate enough to have coming on the show next year, we're going to talk to him about that. You guys just created such a great story, and it was just such style and history and humanity, but it was just fun, man, and just I just need to say, like, that was such a great read, and I definitely have been recommending it to some of my friends who are more like horror comics, definitely fans of James's stuff. Mini Onion. How did that come up? Like, was that like something that you had this idea and then you met Aaron and was like, that's the guy. We're gonna ride out to the sun with this.
Yeah, no, Aaron Campbell and I have been really good buddies for probably 15 years. So, that story came about because, during the pandemic, that first winter, I think it was the first sort of October, somewhere around there, September, October. And I was, we were all stuck in the house. It was miserable. And none of us were aware if we'd ever get out of the house again. And so I reread, out of sort of like a combination of boredom and angst, I reread Dracula, Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, just a whole bunch of classics. I just sat down and read them all. And then it was one of the stupid ones where I woke up one morning and I was like, I had the idea, what if Sergio Leone directed a Hammer horror movie? That was the sentence that was in my head. And then by noon, I was all of a sudden like, wait, it's this vampire. She's in New York. She goes west. She's tracked down by these monster hunters, but the monster hunter is Frankenstein's monster. And Invisible Man is a kid because it's before his story, all this shit. And then by 1 o'clock, I called Aaron and I was like, hey, I had this idea. I don't know if this is something you'd be interested in. And then by like 5 that night, we had plotted out like the entire first arc. And then, there's an artist here in Chicago named Jim Terry, who's a close friend of mine. And if I didn't ask him about it, he would kill me. Like if I didn't say, because this is the most Jim Terry idea I could have thought of. Like,
Right.
Sergio Leone and Hammer is like the Jim Terry's thing on earth. So, like, within days, we had that whole thing figured out. And then I just called Vault and said, hey, I came up with this new thing. If you guys want to do it, let's do it. And so that we had, it was like one of the easiest projects to put together for sure. I think it was just pandemic. Like, everybody got weird during the pandemic, and that was one of the
I think
things.
some of the greatest ideas came out of the pandemic.
Well, yeah,
it sucks, but it's true.
we thought the world was going to end, so we're like, let's go out on top, create, bang, bang, let's go, man. Side note, Tim, just somebody has commented that they love this show because this is literally, and I quote, "As a barber, I love this show. It is every stage of beard growth."
True. Yeah, I'm the hyper evolved version of.
This is like a man show pokey evolution. We have the beginner, the third round, and then the crystal version. So,
Right.
so I had to bring that up because again, I love this, and I definitely I read the first volume, and I believe there's another one, right?
There's another one. Yeah, there's two. Yep, two.
I'm going to read the second one, and I'm just gonna, pun intended, gonna devour it. But I just
second one is the island of Dr. Moreau, but set in the West. So it's the
sweet.
The town of Dr. Moreau is the second one. So
killing me, man. I mean, by God, what next? Did you have the third volume where it's the time machine? Because I'm done. Like,
the third one was going to be Dracula, actually. So
wow.
We wrapped her up at 2. But yeah, Time Machine. I love that. I'm huge lit fan. So
Same.
The book I did, No Place Right Now, has got Lovecraft and Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland and all that stuff put together too. So yeah, I'm a sucker for sticking together that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, because in some of the other reviews there was like, oh, it's Dusk Till Dawn meets League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I was like, whoa, those are two tall orders there. Y'all are hyping this up pretty good, and I was like, nope, reached expectations. So the last thing to bring up is Hack Slash, and I just need to say I stumbled across this as a recommendation of someone who's a huge fan. He did a Hack Slash podcast or something of that manner, and he was like, you should read this, you're a horror fan, and immediately fell in love with Vlad and Cassie. Just the first story alone, just Vlad chuckling about heebie-jeebies. I was like, heebie-jeebies. I was like, this guy's an idiot. This is going to be great. Just you, again, everything about it was fantastic. And I'm also a Spider-Man fan, so I was like, I know Stefano Caselli's work because I read a lot of Dan Slott's Spider-Man. So I was like, oh my God, this is early stuff. But I loved so much about it because the tributes, like you said, being aware of the stuff, but poking fun at it, literally right down to you had the origin, and it wasn't even drawn out as this one page. This is who she is, what motivated her, why she's so fucked up.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I was like, there you go. And then again, all you just do is reprint that page so everybody catches up. I was like, yeah, this is it kind of reminded me, Jara and Lee, I don't know if you guys, it kind of reminded me how Claremont would sometimes in one page summarize. It was okay, whether you've been reading, there you go. If this is your first time, you won't get lost. Here's the shit. So you.
I love the origin story. That was quite impressive.
It's so stupid. Yeah.
I think I learned to fear the lunch lady.
Yeah.
That much more.
Many people have a feer of the lunch lady anyways, and that one just brought it all to.
I mean, Chris Farley with his lunch lady sketch kind of, we learned the lunch lady is a person too, and hoagies and grinders, and now I'm like, yeah, but what if those hoagies and grinders are made of bullies? So it was we need to still be afraid of the lunch lady. But for me, I swear, even in the beginning, you had the perfect setup, and it wasn't even a slasher; it was just a killer. All right, well, we took care of that. So,
usually they get up again.
you obviously you're a horror movie fan, so I mean, Hackslash just became like a love letter to horror movies, and I'm sorry, like you said, that there was a bit of a complicated relationship to it. But what were some of your favorites working on it, and like, how did Vlad and Cassie come up? Like, was that something that was always in the back of your mind that eventually you're like, fuck it, this is them? Or did you see something? You were, in a Friday the 13th movie marathon. You're like, wait a second.
Yeah, it was kind of a combination of stuff. I mean, I guess the real origin of it kind of comes from, that my Image fandom was when I was a kid and I read Savage Dragon. My goal was like, someday I will have my own Savage Dragon, which would just be a super flexible, crazy comic that can be anything. Like, Savage Dragon could fight supervillains and then the Ninja Turtles and God. And I wanted that. I wanted my own version of that. And then, at some point when I was working on G.I. Joe, as an artist, like, there was all this stuff I wasn't allowed to do. And so it was driving me crazy. Like no, you can't have any, like, see a woman's underwear, and you can't have any, just all these crazy rules that would just drive me nuts. So I put them in a list, and I was like, I'm going to make a comic with all these things in it. And then, and part of it was I would go to, when I was first starting out, I was like 24, 25. Right. I would go to all these comic conventions. We'd go every weekend for a while there. And I would always meet these goth girls. Like, they, all these goth girls were collecting comics, and obviously they're my type, which is probably evident. But I was like, somebody should make a comic for these girls, So the combination of those things, I think, were just in the back of my head. But it was sort of that, there was AMC before The Walking Dead used to run these marathons of every horror movie or every slasher franchise, like before Halloween. It would be like 3 weeks, like a month worth of that stuff. And I was hopped up on cold medicine, and I was sitting on the couch in this apartment I shared with 4 other dudes, and I watched all of Friday the 13th, and I was so out of my mind. And I watched Chucky, and I watched all the Halloween movies, and all those things that were percolating in my head came together into these all take place in the same universe, and that was the sort of the genesis, I guess. So all those things combined. And with Hackslash, I wrote the first issue. I just sat down one day, and it just came out of my head straight, like just the first issue. And then, I didn't really know what to do with it. And originally, I had asked, I wasn't really like comfortable writing more stuff, so I'd asked Robert Kirkman if he would help me. And he was too busy, and he's like, "This script's fine. You're fine. Just do it yourself." So then I contacted Stefano, who I'd worked with on G.I. Joe and Micronauts, and was just like, "Hey, do you like horror?" And he said, "I'm Italian, bro. Of course I like horror." So there you go. That's how we did it.
Oh my god, it's so good. Well, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. This is my He-Man right now. So you have
Well, you have the stage, Drew. The thing is, we are running on time, so I want to make sure you get all the questions you can in.
I just have 1 or 2 more, Leo, and then we'll probably wrap it up. So appreciate you looking out, buddy. Well, so I had 2 things. So one, I agree. Like I read I think I've literally read everything, Tim, from beginning, all the crossover, even the ones that I was like, I have no idea who the fuck this person is. So like literally, like some, I was like, who is this? Like, I'm just, all right, fine, I read it. And obviously, like the one that I particularly loved was when they would cross over with like the Chucky one was phenomenal. I just need to say that. And I'm not even really a big Child's Play fan, but I understand like that brought up such an interesting point, because it's when Chucky, Charles Lee Ray, meets Cassie, they know each other. Like she knows him, but he knows her. She's infamous in the quote unquote slashers. She's like their book.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool, especially like you said, this idea that's all the same universe. The same thing, like there was a story where Cassie and Vlad take down Victor Crowley.
Yeah, from Hatchet.
And I'm a huge Hatchet fan, so I was like, wow, like just.
Yeah, Adam is the director's a friend of mine, so that was the easy one to pull
Adam
off.
Green. Yeah. Look, it just everything like that. Her palling it around, almost getting like a happy ending with Ash from Evil
Right.
Dead. Just all of it. But then the humor was always there. The fantastic relationship between her and Vlad, like this, just the tragedy, that they were always chasing a happiness that they could never get. Like Cassie wanted that normal life that she could never get because of who she is, what she knows, and what is kind of her part. It was just, I was like, oh man, like it's like true horror. Like I feel like this is like I was like, wrap it up, get to the point so we can talk. You really encapsulated like what I feel is true horror, is that even if you live, you still lose, because
Yeah,
you
you're
can
not the same.
never go back to the person you were before this, because the evil has changed you. And again, kind of sets up the sequels, but it's a make or break kind of thing. So it was really interesting seeing, not just that, but you had them build up even a cast, like survivors, like what was it, Chris, I think
Yeah,
Laura,
Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Lisa. Yeah. Pooch.
Lisa.
Don't
from
forget Pooch. Pooch. Very,
Pooch,
very important.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love Pooch, big Pooch fan. But even funnier, like you had like the meta moments where you had your fellow creators in there. Like I think it was like
Kirkman,
Yeah.
Steve Niles. Yeah.
yes, Kirkman, Steve Niles, Scotty Young,
Yeah.
are in there, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like I was like you said, this book is just anything and everything, and I was just like, sometimes I'm like, oh god, what is Vlad wearing? Like, so did you have any particular like favorites that you're like, I gotta do this, like it was in your mind, like
I mean, there's definitely, it was the book I made to do whatever I wanted, and then I did whatever I wanted. And there's also like a certain arrogance to it because I was young and I was just like, fuck it. And I never thought about like, oh, you can't do that, Like I just would be like, yeah, I don't know, I'll call fucking, people own Chucky and I'll borrow Chucky. Like there was never like a, I think now I'd probably be more aware of things or more wary of things, and then I just wasn't. So I think the strength of Hack Slash, a lot of it is just this is made by somebody who just didn't know that you weren't supposed to do shit, But it is weird to me that this is the book of all the things I've done is probably the one that I'm most associated with, which, is still crazy to me. I mean, it's never, it's not the biggest seller, but it's certainly the one that seems to always come after my name, So, and I couldn't be happier to have this one be the one that comes after my name for sure.
Oh god, yeah. Guys, I'm good on. So did you have questions?
I was just going to end with saying that you've worked on so many creator-owned titles. How does it feel to have like that kind of I don't even know what to call it, like a career going for yourself? Like you it's like you've reached the top of the mountain. I mean, I know you've probably got more to go, but like it's got to feel really good to be up there.
I mean, I guess I never, the thing that I always, whatever, you look back on stuff is, I always did what I said I was going to do. Like, so I guess like, I said I was going to make creator-owned books, and I said I was going to stick with something for as long as possible and all that shit. And I did it, so I can never like say like, oh, I wish I would have done this. Like I just did all of it. So I guess, like, and for good or for ill, I mean, like some of that, there's some crazy fucking choices in there that maybe if I was, smarter or more experienced, I wouldn't have done. But yeah, I mean, I think if I had just done, Spider-Man or Batman, characters I love, if I just done that, I would be unhappy, I guess. So like, I came up in the same time in the same way as Kirkman, which was, we loved Spider-Man, Batman shit, but what we wanted to be was we wanted to be Rob Liefeld, and we wanted to be Eric Larson, and we wanted to be Todd McFarlane, and so, to that end, that is what I wanted to be. I mean, I'm not as rich as Todd or Rob or Jim or anything.
One day.
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed on comics, but but I did the things creatively that I want to say and I want to do, and I owe it to those guys like for providing that template, because I think that wasn't something guys like Kirby had done Pacific Comics and create our own stuff, and obviously the first comics and Nexus and Badger and all that stuff too. But the degree of which the attitude of it, the branding of it was, this is our shit, fuck you, that impacted me in such a way that I never quite got over it, So
Right. I'm
I'm 48, and I'm still the 13-year-old kid who saw the announcement for Image Comics,
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So Dalen, Carrie had a question. Oh, what the fuck? Carrie had a question, Leo. So she said she picked up the Zombie Tramp / hack / Kickstarter. It was a lot of fun. How was sharing your baby out like that? And were there any plans for Vlad ever to be involved?
Well, so that's Dan Mendoza. He does Zombie Tramp, and Dan and I have also known each other for a good long time. So Dan is younger than me. He's been doing this for a little bit less time than me. But when I started out, people would give me their characters, and they wouldn't ask for anything, And so I owed it to the next generation, of which Dan is part of. And when he was like, "Hey, I want to do this," I just say, "Yeah, do whatever you want." And Dan doesn't like drawing dudes, and so he was like, "I'm going to kick out Vlad because he's ugly, and I just want to draw hot chicks." And I was like, "Go ahead." He didn't draw it, but he, that's the kind of things that Still Ill makes. That was what it was going to be, and so I just gave Dan the book, and then he invited me to Still Ill Con, and and now we traded it so like he can reprint that book whenever he wants, and I can reprint it, and
right.
Just that's just how we do it. Like,
Really
it's for
cool.
fun. It's for fun.
Yeah.
And, I have that. I was given the right to do that with, I don't know, fucking Milk and Cheese. Evan Dorkin gave me Milk and Cheese to appear in Hack Slash, and
What?
and
Wow.
he didn't ask for anything, so I feel like I have to pay that forward. So
Absolutely.
Way to do it.
The only last question I have, and then Leo, I believe you have a question. Have people cosplayed like Cassie or Vlad at con and go, oh, that must be the coolest thing.
It used to be all the time. It would happen like once a con, but there's less cosplay these days, which is weird. But and if they are, it's usually anime and manga characters. But every once in a while, I still get one or two. We had a Cassie at C2E2 last year. But yeah, there was a while there that I would see it all the time, and it would just break my brain,
Yeah. Oh no, it's absolutely great. I mean, I really wish I saw it more at like horror cons, where I feel like it just, you see Cassie and Vlad, I was like, someone's gonna lock the door.
I've seen Cassie and Vlad at horror cons. In fact, I've seen them at cons where I attended as a fan, not as a creator, and I don't say anything. I just see a Cassie and Vlad walk by, and I just like chuckle to myself, and I don't say shit, So
Have they ever noticed? Like, if you like,
horror fans have no idea. The best thing about horror fans is they love the stuff, and they love everything. Like, horror fans love movies, they love comics, they love novels. They don't give a shit. It's horror. They love it. They also don't give a fuck about who you are. So like, they don't know my stupid face. They're just like they just walk right by. They don't give a shit.
Okay. All right. That's hilarious. Thank you. All right, Leo.
Yeah, actually, a couple real quick before we let you go. As a Batman fan and as working on some incredible titles there, what is your formula for a good Batman story?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think the key to Batman is there is no formula. Like the thing that I figured out writing Batman was that Batman is a character that exists in more than one genre. Batman is a superhero, Batman is a detective, Batman is a science fiction character, Batman is a horror character. And so every time you write a Batman story, you have to decide which genre it is in. And so, so it, sort of outside the formula, it's always figuring out, like, how do you put Batman is your tour guide through some kind of world or story that you've established. And so he's a constant, right? He's immovable. He's, and you're going to put him through an idea is kind of how you have to work with him. And the advantage on like something like Eternal was that he was all those genres at once. It was like there was a sci-fi subplot, there was a mystery subplot, there was a horror subplot, there was a, all that sort of stuff.
Awesome. And also, one thing we like to ask everybody is, What do you dork out about when you have? I know you have very limited free time, but we learned that you collect toys and
True.
Being a geek like us, what do you do? What do you play video games?
No,
just sit on
never play video games. I'm a big film guy. I love film. I'm a movie buff. I have always been a movie buff. So, and I like movies because I don't make movies, which is great. I mean, I made a couple, I guess, but I wrote movies, but I don't make movies. So I can just sort of enjoy movies as a fan. And I'm a big music nerd. I love music, so I don't make music, which is awesome. I can just be a big fan and buy new artists that I love and old artists, and so yeah, I go to shows. I used to love going to concerts, so mostly music, movies is kind of my dork out shit. I do, like, if I'm being really realistic though, like I'm just action figures in general. I'm such a weakling for just action figures, and like if I love going like to a vintage toy show and digging through old shit and finding weird 80s stuff I don't know nothing about. Like, that is super my thing for sure.
That's cool.
Awesome. What was one of the last finds you found?
Oh, good question. Let's see. Well, I had been looking for a while the Tom Strong figures that came out back in the 2000s. I wanted to get one of those. Let's see what else I pick stuff up on either at the shows or I'll buy stuff off eBay every once in a while. What else did I pick up? That was missing a Transformer from when I was a kid, Slag, which was the Triceratops.
Oh, nice. Yep.
I got him finally in really good shape. All his gear, he's got his missile launcher and everything.
Are you able to transform him back and forth? Because
he is. Yeah, actually, I have a perfect. I found a Optimus Prime that I got at a thrift store, and he was in absolute perfect condition. And you could transform him and everything. The Slag is pretty sloppy. He's got loose, got loose joints and stuff. But yeah, and I don't collect Transformers in general because I don't want to. That's a
That's a slippery slope.
Right, that's a slope. Yeah, man. And they made so many, and they keep making the motherfuckers, and there's third party and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
my wife had to cut me off.
Leo did not have that impulse control. No. And he was just like, what do you guys think about this Unicron? I was like, I don't think you can afford a second mortgage on your house.
Yeah.
So,
they're such cool. They're so cool. But yeah, there's so many, and they're too tempting. And the range of Transformers, like you said, you can get a $4 Bumblebee, but you could also get like a $600 goddamn thing. And I just can't get into. I can't do that. I got to have something more limited. So I don't collect G.I JOE or Star Wars for the exact same reason. Like that is too much shit. I will do Sectors and Thundercats because that shit ends.
Oh, check this out.
all right.
Power Lords, I'll do
I
that.
picked up. They are redoing Sectors.
Yeah.
I picked them up for $1.50 a piece at Walmart.
Holy shit! Great deal.
Oh, wow.
Did they have the?
I was just like,
Did they have Stellara? Did they have Stellara for $1.50? Stellara, the girl.
I got her too.
Oh shit! See, I love those. I was waiting my whole life for Stellara, so now they get them $1.50 at Walmart. Yeah, man, that was a big I was looking for Stellara my whole childhood.
Found them like a month ago, and I was just like $1.50. I cannot leave these behind.
Well, I'm gonna swing. I have them. I bought them. I have the originals as well, but I'm probably gonna. Swing over that.
Yeah, I don't have any of the originals. Those. Whew.
Yeah, I got them also when nobody was buying them. I think I got most of my Sectors for $3 a piece. So, but there you go. Yes. Anyway, there's my rant. That's.
I was like, Jar, I will give you his email if you want to talk to him.
I have one last thing to say because you are doing Masters of the Universe. If you ever need or are looking for an artist, there's this guy, Chris Campana, amazing Masters of the Universe artist. He would love to get on the book one day.
Great timing. I have to send a couple of artists, so I will send Chris to the editor. All right, done.
All right, nice.
You have managed to make a connection here that will be very useful because.
And you didn't need to use LinkedIn for this, so what a great day. So Tim, thank you so much for taking the time. This was fantastic, and we really appreciate it. Of course, you're welcome back anytime. And if you're doing any like Kickstarters or anything like that for projects, let us know. We'd be more than glad to promote that. Just put more money in that college fund. So the last question we have is do you know if you're going to any conventions in 2026, the aka New Year, which is coming up sooner than we realized, that people can look for you? And what's the best way for people to interact with you on social media?
I am on Blue Sky and I'm on Instagram. Those are the two I'm kind of on now. And I will be at, obviously, C2E2. It's my hometown show, New York Comic Con. I am in, let's see, what ones did I sign up for? Big Lick, Terrificon. I'm doing again this year. One of my favorites.
Sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll be at those for sure. I have a few other ones. But Big Lick is in San Diego Comic Con. I always do that one. Whether I want to or not, and yeah, I think those are my major ones. But I'll be around.
Very
Well,
nice.
well, excellent. So, all right, Leo, you want to sign them off?
Yeah. So when you're ready, Tim, just hit the red button on the bottom, and like I mentioned before, just make sure you let the uploads complete. And it was an absolute pleasure speaking with you this evening. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Much pleasure, and have a good night.
Same with you. Thank you. Have a good holiday too.
Hey, there's Mark. I see.
Yeah, he's leaving, Mark. But thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Mark.
Okay.
All right,
awesome.
guys. We
Yeah.
do
All right.
another interview in the bag.
Indeed. What a great way to wrap up our year, because I think that's the last interview we have. That's it. Because next week we have. Because Leo, can you full screen me for just a brief minute? Everybody, thank you so much for joining us with that. I definitely recommend checking out Tim. There's so much going on with him in his world. Please support. And that's our last interview. So we really appreciate everybody who stick around from January up to December. If you're just tuning in now, definitely hit the like and subscribe button for our YouTube page. We would love to have you along because we have some great guests coming up for next year. And also, especially next week, we're going to have our traditional holiday live read. We've been practicing. We have some great stories. It's just going to be fantastic. And definitely tune into our YouTube because we've been putting up our adaptations from last year's live read, and those have been pretty good. So enjoy. But
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Minimize me.
We had 50 interviews last year.
Oh, yeah, we had in the 30s last year. Now we have actually over 50 this year. We had 39 last year. We have over 50 this year. So
and already lined up 1 million for next year.
We'll see. Time will tell. All right, guys. So I think we should just bang out the news and then go and then knock it out. Okie dokie. Variant watch. Hey, variant watch. Part one. Yeah. Spider-Man.
Sonya.
I believe.
Blade.
No, this is not Sonya Blade. This is yes. So yeah. So what this is David Nakayama's. This is a color block variant. So welcome to Variant Watch. So starting in February, Marvel will going to be highlighting the artwork of David Nakayama, who is an acclaimed artist who we've seen. I believe he's the same guy. I don't know. I'm not 100% if he's also the person who does those. No, that's someone else that does, those negative space.
I know what you're talking
covers.
about.
Yeah, but no, not the same guy. He's known for his covers, but now he's going to be doing something called color block variant covers. So they're going to utilize a single color reflected in both the characters depicted and the background, kind of creating this nice striking visual. So it's going to hit the stands in 3 waves. So for the first 10, we'll feature the color red, which are debuting in February, which then is followed by white and blue in April and then in June. So each of these will be available as a version variant cover. So, which is ensures that his clean compositions can be enjoyed to the fullest. And he said he was just kind of looking for an eye-catching cover idea that would really stand out on the con circuit, and then came up with an almost all red Scarlet Witch, and it really took off. And he's just been drawing them with the same technique. So, yeah. So this is a new collection. It's going to be bold, strategic, and just with a variety of characters he's either never drawn this way or sometimes not at all. So as we've seen, you got Spidey, you got Red Hulk, you got Deadpool, you got the Phoenix. I believe that's
that's the only 4 that were.
Well, no, I know. But I'm just saying. I know that there are also others. So you got that.
I wonder how they're going to do the Deadpool. Like, is that going to be a front and back cover?
No, it's right there.
No, I know, but it's.
You think that's a wraparound?
Yeah,
it
because
might be a
it's
wraparound the way it's
horizontal.
done.
There's only a little bit of image underneath that, so I'm assuming it's going to be a wraparound.
I don't know, but so like I said, you got those, and the Avengers, Venom, Wade Wilson, Deadpool, ASM, Daredevil, Punisher, The Devil's Trigger, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, and Sorcerer Supreme. So these are going to be released. The first 10 you're going to see in January. Everything else you'll see, like I said, in April and in June. So very exciting, very, very, very beautiful, very original. I got to give him credit. It's a really cool idea. So, okay.
My turn.
Yes. Yeah.
Drew's News. Exciting tales, fresh comic views. In the pages, heroes fly, villains plot under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News, your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun, it's a heroic cruise in the world of Drew's comic news.
Except for we're still on Variant Watch.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, Marvel's doing another special variant cover program called Hell's Kitchen Variant Covers by artist Ario Enedito.
Yep. You did good.
Okay, these covers take major Marvel characters and reimagine them with a dark Punisher-inspired aesthetic. Think gritty, tactical looks, skull motifs, and characters as if they've embraced Frank Castle's ruthless approach to justice. On sale, I think we only have the 6 of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have Avengers 35.
Mm-hmm.
Uncanny X-Men number 23.
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine 15.
Mm-hmm.
And then that comes out February 11th. We have do we have the Moon Knight one?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. And then coming out February 18th, we have an Amazing Spider-Man one.
Yep. That was one of the first images.
No.
Oh, yeah.
2. And then I believe the other ones we don't have pictures for, which is Uncanny X-Men number 24.
Mm-hmm.
Also comes out February 18th. February 25th, we'll have Infernal Hulk number 4,
Mm-hmm.
Punisher number 1, and Thor number 7.
Okay.
And that wraps up the ones that we have don't know about.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know. How
It's interesting. Some I don't know. Some I feel are a little cooler than others. I feel like someone is definitely going to try doing the Null and the T-shirt vibe.
Yeah, Null is coming out as a cosplayer near you.
Yeah, I feel like with that, I don't know about you guys. It's giving me kind of like Evil Ernie vibes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Long hair, T-shirt, yeah. But again, you know what? It's cute. Some of that is great. That Storm right there, that's phenomenal.
That'll definitely be a cosplay as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But some of the others, how some of the
Spider-Man with the tactical jacket.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. All right, so I guess we'll just jump then. We don't need to play the intro again. We already know where we are, Leo. So
Yeah,
let's
but the other one could be. Well, actually, the next one's me anyway.
Yeah, true.
It could be another variant. What these could all be variant watch because there's so many friggin' variants.
Calm down. Maybe there'll be less than next year. Probably not.
Yeah.
Before
all right.
times.
All right, Leo, take it away.
Yeah. So Darth Maul is making his return, and Marvel Comics is setting the stage this March with Star Wars Shadow of Maul. It's going to be a 5-issue prequel series that's going to lead directly into the upcoming Disney Plus animated show. The animated show is Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. And the series is written by Benjamin Percy. We're talking about the comics now, who you should definitely know from his incredible runs on Wolverine and X-Force. Plus, he's already tackled Maul in last year's Darth Maul Black, White, and Red anthology. And he's teaming up with artist Medebek Musabekov. And I know I probably got that wrong. I apologize. He's been killing it on Star Wars Jedi Knights. And so here's where it sets up. The story picks up after Clone Wars, the final season, and follows Maul as he tries to rebuild his criminal empire on a planet called Janix. And it's a place that's basically stayed off the Empire's radar. So the comic focuses on Captain Brandar Lawson, a cop trying to maintain order in the lawless territory alongside his droid partner, Two Boots, actually. And as they two boots. So they confront crime bosses and the looming threat of Maul. So Percy said,
a normal police officer take on Maul? Like no force?
I don't know.
I mean,
don't you read the book.
All right.
We'll be saying there.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for something like this since they showed him at the end of, I forget what movie it was.
Solo.
Solo.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's just another Star Wars thing that went nowhere.
Yep. All right, but what were you saying, Leo?
Go somewhere now.
They'll whatever.
Come on.
So Percy said, I've said it before, I'm a giant Star Wars nerd. And he says, my previous experience was writing in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars, Darth Maul, Black, White, and Red was an absolute delight. But those were one-shots. Flirtations with the franchise with Shadow of Maul. I'm able to share a more expansive story about one of my favorite characters while also exploring a fresh angle on the Star Wars universe. Muskabez says is gritty, grounded art style, and it sounds like it's going to be a match that noir vibe perfectly. And this is going to drop March 4th. And so we have the covers. The main cover is by Derek Chu.
Wow. And
then the alternate is by AKA.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah. Sorry. No, actually, this is Bjorn Barons.
Right.
And then this is AKA.
Wow. Those are all really beautiful. And that's great talent to have for covers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think we have some inside shots here.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it's leading up to the animated series?
Yes.
The new animated series.
Yep.
I didn't know there was going to be a new animated series. So surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. But yep. That's
More
pretty
Star
much
Wars.
more Star Wars. It never ends.
These are going to need a bigger box.
Yep. Well, this is the last news story of the night, and what a doozy this is going to be. So this is all right. I'm ready, Leo. So, as we already saw this year, history was made. We had Batman, Deadpool. No, we had Deadpool, Batman, and then we had Batman, Deadpool. Two huge issues, which did very well, and a smattering of crossovers that were just amazing. So Marvel and DC said, well, the fans want more. We're going to do more. So this upcoming January will be the 50th anniversary of the first DC Marvel crossover, which was Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man. So this book, which is coming out Wednesday, March 25th next year, will be about $7.99 retail. We're going to be seeing this show up, and my God, this is I don't even know what to say with this one. And this is even more exciting because the main story is written by someone who we know very well. So the synopsis says, when the journalists Clark Kent and Peter Parker find themselves chasing the same story, the conspiracy they uncover could change the world, especially if Brainiac and Dr. Octopus have to say anything about it. Good thing the Newshounds are secretly Superman and Amazing Spider-Man to bring this clash of reporters turned heroes to life. Writer Mark Waid, who needs no introduction to us, and Jorge Jimenez, who Leo we know is killing it with Matt Fraction right now on Batman, joined forces to headline this with an unforgettable lead story. But wait, there's more. So you can't miss the bonus stories, because why not? So in this, we will see Tom King and Jim Lee tell the story of Lois Lane and Mary Jane Watson. Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber revisiting Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen and Carnage. Sean Murphy will take us to the future with Superboy as part of the Legion of Superheroes and Spider-Man 2099. Gail Simone teams up with Belen Ortega for a look at what happens when Power Girl meets the Punisher. Jar, our favorite writer, Christopher Priest and Daniel Sampre, show us a time when Superboy Prime, who apparently reads all the comics, decided to visit Spider-Man right after he got the Venom suit, aka the symbiote. And Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott take us on an exciting race between the Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle. Also, apparently, we will get an answer to the age-old question, who would win in a fair fight, Pa Kent or Uncle Ben, which will be brought to us by Jeff Lemire and Rafa Sandoval.
I've been wondering that forever.
Yeah, so they're going to be taking us into the past to see the two men bond in the face of adversity. So as I've been reading this, Leo has been going through all of the covers, and my God, what a smattering of talent. You got, again, there's so many credits to mention. I'm just going to say them all, and just you'll know which one is what. You had Jim Lee, Scott Williams, Alex Sinclair, Daniel Sempre, and Tomei Moreau, Reverend Dave Johnson, David Nakayama, Gabriel Delado, Michael Janin, Raphael Albuquerque, Stanley Archer Lau, David Talashi, Arthur Adams, Christy Zulo, Josh Middleton, Scott Koblish, Olivier Copiel, Adam Hughes, Mitch Gerards, Jeff Spokes, Evan Doc Shaner, Steve Lieber, J. Scott Campbell, Ken Crane, Raphael Sandoval, and more, including the Jorge Jimenez main cover, which will be offered as an open-to-order foil variant cover. Honestly, enough said. Yeah. And then don't forget that these stories are going to be also following DC Treasuries edition reprints, celebrating the original crossover. 2026, man, it's going to be a great year for crossovers. So, yeah.
I'm hoping this means that the old book goes up in value. I've been watching, but no movement so far.
Would you sell your treasury, though?
Huh?
Would you sell your treasury, though?
No.
No.
I have the complete collection of the DC and the Marvel treasuries, and no. It took me so long to collect all of those.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, it's the same. Listen to the same thing I always tell people. Like, listen, you want a good read DC versus Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Especially, I have all that signed by almost everyone, funny enough, which was pretty crazy. Like Ron Mars, the late, great Peter David signed. And again, he was only the consultant, mind you, by the way. So, but him, the primary artist, oh God, what a book.
And then I loved the amalgams. Not all of them were great, but they were fun.
I have most of those too. Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. So this is so cool. I'm so excited.
At least a lot of the ideas were great.
Yeah. And I love the backup stories. Like don't get me wrong, the main stories were great. Phenomenal talent. But some of those backup stories were just so good. So I'm all for this.
And
I'm glad.
When's that coming out again?
March. Next year. So, Leo, I definitely talk to your LCS now. So that's going to be big.
Yeah, I already called my LCS and reinstituted my poll list since I'm now employed again.
Since you're back again.
Yep.
Yep.
Sarges. Hey.
Bring it back to 42 variants, everybody. All right. So, Leo, that's it on the news. Yeah. So I say we just wrap it up and look forward to the holiday library next week.
Open up the present next week. Wrap it up now and open it up.
Well, I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. You know how to find me, but more importantly, check out our website. We've been doing a lot of stuff on that. Link is in the show notes up above or down below. Also, our YouTube page. We've been adding some special content there, including our Christmas and holiday live reads. There's a nice Hanukkah one up right now, and actually another Hanukkah one coming up, I believe, this weekend. Yeah. So, Jar Jar.
Hey. Have a good night and catch the live read next week. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you want to follow me, Facebook's probably the best place to find me. But I'm on everything, so I don't know. How about
everything?
Everything from Blue Sky to Instagram, Twitch, all of them. Everything. Damn it, Leo! Everything. 6'7".
6,
8, 9. Just finish it. Just be done with it. That needs to stay in 2025. Hey, everybody. When I'm not being an old man yelling at 6 7s, you can find me at Facebook, Instagram, GhostBushman1984, Blue Sky. Leo's right. We have so much that we're going to be really posting the rest of this month. A lot of good stuff, and on top of it, we have such a great year coming up. A lot of major talents. We already leaked that we will be having Tim's West of Sundown collaborator on, Aaron Campbell, but there's also a lot of others coming on too. So I would definitely say maybe tune in to our live read, not just because it's gonna be fun, because maybe we'll throw out a couple of other big names that we're gonna have next year for you all to get nice and excited for the new year. Who knows? But
we actually have a couple of Tim's collaborators.
Indeed. But keep in mind that I'm very busy, so if I don't answer you, just leave a message after the beep. Beep. Beep.
Hello. Goodbye.